What's up, Night Owl? Steely here back with another video, and today we're starting our Dungeons and Drama series. Now, this series will be Dungeons and Dragons table stories that I find on the internet or that get sent to me or from my own personal experiences. And to start things off, I've got a really juicy story. I went ahead and changed the names of everybody involved, and you'll understand why here in a second. And this story is from a woman's perspective. I had always known D&D existed, but it wasn't until I saw the Dungeons and Dragons episode of Community that I wanted to actually try it. Community has a Dungeons and Dragons episode? I'll have to watch that. I have a deep passion for anime and love role-playing on different anime and furry discords. D&D seemed like the next logical step for me, but I get really shy and nervous around groups of people. I have a deep passion for anime and love role-playing in different anime and furry discords. D&D seemed like the next logical step. What? So wait, she's willing to roleplay on anime and furry discords, but D&D, she's like, I don't know about that one. That's a bit too extreme for me. I don't know how I feel about that, guys. My boyfriend at the time, who I lived with, played a lot of Magic the Gathering at our local game store. I asked him if they had D&D there and if he would teach me how to play. He told me he didn't want to bring me to the store because there was a lot of thirsty nerds there. There was a lot of thirsty nerds there, and he didn't want me to get harassed all night. My dude, her boyfriend knows what's up. He's like, no, I don't need all that competition. I finally convinced him to bring me to the store with him on a Friday night so I could find a group to play with. Okay, so he decided to bring her on Friday. There were no D&D games going on at the time, so I went around playing Magic with different people. Okay. My boyfriend had tried to teach me how to play Magic before, but I never really had an interest, and he got angry when I couldn't remember the rules. You know, sometimes you get impatient with the newbies. You know, not everybody can teach Magic. The people I played with were all really cool, and I began asking around looking for a D&D game. I eventually found what the people in the store referred to as the Forever DM. We all know that one. We all know who that is. We all have our forever DM. Chase was his name, and he offered to run me and a few of his friends in a game next time I was at the store. I met Ethan and his wife Molly while playing Magic and learned that they would be playing in the D&D game with us. He explained to me that I needed the player's handbook and offered to loan me his so I could create a character. What a pro. Loaned her his player's handbook. What a dude. What a dude. I spent some time at the store talking with Chase, Ethan, and Molly, asking questions about how to get started. They assured me that D&D is really easy to learn. Nowadays, yes, absolutely. Absolutely is. Chase, Ethan, and Molly. So Ethan and Molly are married, and Chase is our forever DM in this story. I spent that entire week reading the book that Chase loaned me, cover to cover. I was so nervous and excited, I knew I wanted to play an elf druid. It was turning into animals that called to me the most compared to the other classes. An elf druid. The furry wants to play a druid, guys. Imagine that. I would have never guessed. I even tried to convince my boyfriend to take me to the store sooner so I could start playing, but he said that it would be easier to take me to the store at the same time that he goes, which is on Friday. So Friday Night Magic. So she's going to be playing D&D while he plays Magic. I got it. So I learned all the rules that I could, and I wrote a detailed... So I learned all the rules that I could, and I wrote a detailed 5-page backstory explaining everything about my character. Her shiny purple eyes, her long white hair, her soft pale skin. I had every piece of jewelry and article of clothing accounted for. I wish I had players like this, let me tell you. The big day finally came. I sat down with my character sheet and my brand new set of dice, ready to play D&D for the very first time. I didn't meet the other player, Jeff, until the game was about to start. He didn't seem interested. Okay, Jeff. I didn't meet the other player, Jeff, until the game was about to start. He didn't seem interested in having some noob at the table, but Chase assured him I was ready. Some noob at the table. I don't think I've ever played D&D with somebody that was like, I don't want some new player at my D&D table. Please give me a bunch of people that are going to min-max and murder hobo the entire campaign. Get these newbies out of here. Did you show Jeff your 5-page backstory? That's what I want to know, because that would have I'd have given a thumbs up. I learned later that Jeff was incredibly picky about who he plays with. I'm getting just painting a pretty picture here for Jeff. The first game session went great. I had a lot of fun, and the other players were really patient with me as I learned the rules. Jeff took me under his wing and showed me all the different ways to build a proper character. Jeff is cracking me up, guys. Could you imagine sitting down at the D&D table and a player pulling you aside and saying, listen, there's proper characters and there's improper characters. I'm not going to play with an improper character. So let me show you how it's done. All right. I was so reluctant to leave when the time came. My boyfriend was ready to go home, but I wanted to stay and talk more about D&D. Those are the best. Everybody's first session, it's never enough. It's never enough for the first session. Everybody wants to keep going. The next week did not go as well. My boyfriend was put out of the Magic tournament very early and was complaining that he had to stay while I finished my D&D game. What a dude. What a bad word. Got put out of the Magic tournament early and complained that he had to sit there. He couldn't just go play Magic. Let your girl finish this D&D game. Chase, Chase is the DM. Chase offered to give me a ride home, and before I even understood what was going on, my boyfriend was in the car and on his way home. Her boyfriend left her there because the DM offered to give her a ride. Whatever. Okay, so now it's important to note at this point in the story that I was in a very unhappy relationship with my boyfriend. I would be too. Just complaining. I'm trying to play a D&D game over here. I knew that our relationship was over, but I didn't know how to leave. And Chase became the person I went to with my problems, a shoulder to cry on. I then discovered that he was also in an unhappy relationship. However, Chase, the forever DM, was married. So our situations were a little different. Even so, we spent a lot of time talking and supporting each other. It was nice having someone to talk to who understood my pain, and he felt the same. I don't like Chase anymore. The night that Chase took me home, I kissed him, oh boy, while sitting in the car in front of my house. We then went to a hotel and stayed the night together. The next day, I broke it off with my boyfriend and moved back in with my parents. Things went well for a time. As I learned more and more about D&D, I became interested in a new game and started asking around for other days that I could play. Chase didn't want to run a second game. Jeff offered to run a game, but Chase couldn't play because he had to work on that day. And we know how she feels about DMs. I enthusiastically told Chase that I had found another D&D game to play in and that Jeff would be the DM. By this time, Jeff knew about Chase and I, but he didn't care. Chase didn't seem bothered by it at first, but after several weeks, he became more and more jealous, and he would text me throughout entire game sessions. Imagine that, the cheater's getting jealous. Chase had a problem with the friendship I had with Jeff. He'd make jealous comments whenever he texted me or if his name came up. I got tired of the drama of having an affair. I started to feel horrible inside, guilty about what I was doing. I decided to break it off with Chase. He didn't take it well at all. He insisted that this was about Jeff and that I was leaving him so I could be with Jeff. I promised him that wasn't the reason at all. Over the next few weeks, Chase started to lose his mind. He showed me a side of himself that Ethan tried to warn me about. The D&D games weren't fun anymore, and it began to feel like Chase was out to make the party miserable, especially myself and Jeff. What? The guy you broke up with, it became weird at the D&D table? after you broke up with him? Um, it got, it got awkward after that one. Okay. Throughout the week, I was receiving whiny text messages from Chase. I miss you. I miss being with you. I want to hold you again like the first night we were together. Every single day. I felt bad, but at the same time, he was married. I finally decided that I had to get away. I explained what had been going on to the other players. They said they all knew. There's no secrets. No secrets at that game store. When Ethan came back and asked about the game, I told him it was a long story. He said, "Oh, is it about Chase?" He knew about us since the very beginning when he gave me a ride home. After playing in Jeff's game for a while, we started to develop feelings for each other and began to date. She likes the DMs. She likes the DMs. So when we went to the game store to avoid drama with Chase, I texted him and told him that Jeff and I were together. He didn't seem bothered by it and in fact brought his newest affair to the store. My goodness, Chase. So after spending the evening with Jeff and I all over each other, he never spoke to me again. What a ride. What a ride that was. Please, if you're watching this, do not sleep with your married dungeon master. Okay, do me that favor. I hope you enjoyed that very first episode of Dungeons and Drama. And if you did, you know how YouTube works. Hit those buttons, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you've got a story that you want me to read out, or if you've got a link to one that you want me to read, or anything like that. Let me know. I can keep doing these if you enjoy them. And if you're a DM looking for players or players looking for a DM, make sure you join the Discord, link in the description. Come by, ask questions, let me know what you think. And as always, I'll see you at sundown.